Howdy, howdy, everyone. So I've got two videos coming out for these ornaments, and then it should wrap them up. This one I'm working on with some variety of greens, so you get to see how well these greens work and blend together. The next video, I'm going to be applying a metallic powder to a lot of the eggs that maybe have bald patches or just areas that I have missed or might have moved down. So you'll get to see how the metallic does, and it's a super easy process. And I'll go through a bunch of different ornaments, and I'll show you before and afters on that part. So if you're ever working with this process and then later on after a couple days you realize it's like, oh, I got some bare spots and you didn't see them before, like when you start showing them up to the light, this will show you another layer that you can do on that fixes it up real nice and simple. So anyway, on to the process. If you haven't done this before, I'm going to explain it to you real quickly. So this is working with pigment powders. And these pigment powders are by Color Art, and they're called Primary Elements. And what I'm doing here is, if you notice that there's a slight cloudiness to these eggs, and there's some eggs in the background that have a little bit of a puddle to them. And what I've done is I've coated the inside with polyacrylic. And when you start adding the pigment powders in there, it will start bonding with the polyacrylic. So basically it's kind of like creating a paint on the inside of your egg. But what's really, really cool is because of the application of the powders, you end up leaving little bits of color everywhere. And when you start incorporating the powders by the tapping of the egg or the ornament, it shifts any loose powders to different areas, and so creating layers and layers and layers of colors. And once in about 24 hours, those colors will start bonding with the polyacrylic, and the difference is pretty interesting because you get really thoroughly blended spots, saturated colors, and a really lustrous kind of after effect. So enough for that part. So what I've got is clearly a coat of polyacrylic in there, and you just apply some in, drain it out into a cup or back into the container. Move it all around. I set them to the side real quickly, and then usually we'll empty them out periodically just to make sure I've got a nice even coat and not a lot of solution left in there. Okay, so the very next step that I've got going on here, and you'll see a white powder that I'm applying in there, and it's not just really a white powder. What it is an interference color. And the really cool thing about these interference colors is they like to play with light. So when you're moving this egg around when it's completely finished, it will show you hints of a color. So I'm completely playing with shades of greens in here with the exception of the penny. This particular interference has hints of green in it, and it'll come through in the end. It'll actually end up being transparent, but that shimmer will be showing through the other colors. So it's definitely worth it. I like it, especially with ornaments. Okay, so what I've done is I've applied little bits of this color in here in different spots, and then using the fatty palm of my hand, we'll tap the glass ornament pretty vigorously. These ornaments are really thick and they can take it, but the pounding, what it does is also not only help it bond with the polyacrylic, but also if you have like let's say you really, like I put in there a nice little healthy pile there, only some of that powder is going to be attached at that moment, but there'll be loose particles on top. So the pounding also helps move the particles around in your ornament as well. So anyway, back to the shapes. So there's an egg shape and there's a heart shape. And these things work really, really well for Christmas, but obviously the eggs work well for Easter, for those who like to decorate for Easter, and then the hearts, of course, also for Valentine's. So the heart ones have a little bit of a bulbous shape in the top of it, clearly for the rounded part of the heart. And those are a little tricky to get the polyacrylic out, but just, through rocking motion, it's possible to do it. Both shapes are a little bit larger than most ornaments are, so it definitely also, I don't know, again, it feels like you're getting something really nice quality-wise. So, now I'm adding colors here, and I'm just literally applying one particular color. As you notice, I'm working in sets of 4. But I'm applying them in different areas, a little bit lower, a little bit in the medium area, middle area, and then a little bit closer to the opening. And I'll go and apply this color to all 4 of them, and then move on to my next color. So just as simple as that, and then just the pouncing in between. Okay, so this is a great project for hanging out with buddies and friends or family members, or even, working with us and watching a few good movies, that kind of thing. And I'm actually doing this as we speak because, if you notice, I'm off camera, but I'm visiting with some friends who came down to visit, and we hadn't seen them in a while. There's a good old friends, those kind. That, you don't talk to him for maybe even a couple of years, but the moment you talk to him, it's like you stepped right back into that conversation and kick right back up again. You could share anything you want. They'll be there for you through the, thick and the thin, those kind of friends. So it was a really good visit over the holiday, so I'm really happy about that. Anyway, I hope you guys had a great holiday season. Whichever holiday you celebrate, but the more important part is feeling the love and all your traditions that make you feel like home. I am going to let some music go in the background and speed up this process, but that's basically it in a nut. Again, you can get the primary elements through color art as well as the interference colors. Your background, the polyacrylic works really well, or polypore, which is also by Color Art. I'll put all the links in the descriptions, and be on the lookout for the other ornaments video that will be coming out shortly. As soon as my powders get in, I will do that video and put that out there. So since this is landing near New Year's, I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. And I'm also going to be putting out a video today, meaning I got to record it today, talking about goals for next year. Since this year's been so interesting and didn't know what to expect of it, I'm going to try and plan some goals out for next year. So thank you for hanging out with me, and I really, really appreciate that. Until then, I will talk to you tomorrow. Later. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm being very bad. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, but definitely hit the bell to get notified next time I put a video up. Later, y'all.
Never reminded, never taking whatever you told me. I know what I could be, making emotion paintable and so tell me, is this what you made me? fly.